So it is day 8 of my 30 days of decluttering in January challenge. And this is my favorite project so far. So this is footage that I took a few days ago now, before I did our toy clear out. So that toy unit has gone before starting this recent declutter, but I wanted to show you exactly what it looked like. Just a little reminder there of what it looked like before we started this project. So this project took a couple of days. The decluttering was just a day, but the whole project was 2 days. So I'm going to show you a quick run through of day one, was evening one really. So we have 3 young kids, 6, 4 and 2 years old, and trying to put together any kind of flat packs, doing any DIY with them around is just impossible, because you get a drill out and hammer and they just want to play with them, which is obviously not safe. They'll be running off with the screws, climbing over everything. We just cannot do it. So we had to start this once the kids were in bed. And I say we had to start this because I don't actually think my husband realised just how involved in this project he was going to become. Or like how I didn't really plan for him to be that involved, because this is a typical thing that I do. I decide on a project, I go ahead and buy all the things needed, I have a vision, and then I realise that it's a two-man job. It's not that I can't do it, it's just that it's really hard to do these things on your own, and it's lovely to have someone else to help. But my husband was not quite prepared for this. So we come down from doing bedtime. He hadn't eaten his dinner yet. It was 9 o'clock. I started pulling flat packs out. As you can imagine, he was full of the joys of spring. So I let him eat his dinner and started to put this Kallax unit together. So we have that Kallax unit already, which is like 4 boxes along, 2 boxes up. And I worked out that I could fit 2 Kallax units alongside each other on that back wall. If I got rid of the book unit and I got rid of the fancy dress stand. The fancy dress stand, I love it itself. It's a great piece of furniture. Not that you can really see it under all the fancy dress clothes, but oh my goodness, it does not work. So when you buy something, you think it's going to solve your problems, and it doesn't. And this is typically like one of those things, that I thought it was going to be really helpful, because our kids absolutely love fancy dress. So we have a lot of fancy dress stuff. We do clear out the odd thing, especially when they go out of size, particularly, but they are quite, into their fancy dress, and they do rotate the outfit. So it's a well-used kind of toy area, because it's obviously more than one item. But they at 6, 4 and 2, they are absolutely useless at putting any of it back. Also just finding what they want in the first place, which is often half the problem. So, one will think, I want to dress up as a king today. Where is my king cloak? And we'll just take everything off the rail until they find it. And so we regularly find all the fancy dress clothes in a heap on the floor. And we do get them to help us to a degree tidy up. So, getting things back on hangers, though, is something they really struggle with. And the time it takes to help them put things back on a hanger, I kind of get frustrated and think, I'd just rather just do this myself. And so we end up finding ourselves several evenings in the week, sat behind the sofa, putting fancy dress stuff back on hangers, putting it back on the rail. And then the rail itself is just, there's not enough room on it for the amount of fancy dress that we have. So we have too much there. But, it just, even when it's all hung up, it looks messy. So originally I had been looking at like getting a big kind of hamper where we would have like all the fancy dress stuff just thrown in the hamper. And then when I realized that we could get 2 Kallax units alongside each other, I thought, I will just dedicate like 4 boxes in the Kallax unit to fancy dress stuff. And then we also have some other kind of, I guess, fancy dress-ish stuff in the unit that we have under our television. We have our weaponry, I like to call it. That's where we house the weaponry. So all the swords and the axes and the shields that go with fancy dress stuff. So I had it in mind I could put some of the helmets under there with the weapons, and then we would have all of the soft clothing and some of the like accessory boxes in the Kallax unit. So that is one of my major plans for it. I am going to put some of the books back in the Kallax. I'm going to have 1 or 2 open cubes of books. I would say we don't actually read loads downstairs. We do a lot of reading upstairs. It is like a main bedtime activity. And we do read books downstairs as part of the kids' homework, the books they bring back from school, but those are on their iPads or in their school bags. So we need some books downstairs. I like to have some books around that we can read, particularly with the 2-year-old on my non-working day off with her. But I don't think we need that many. So generally that is my plan. The new Kallax unit we've got though is a little bit taller than the old one. So I debated whether we go like full on, get the ones that are 4 cubes high and like have a wall of toy storage, but that would have been too much really. Visually, just too much to be looking at Kallax cubes. And then we ummed and ahed, like, do we just get the same unit again? Or would that be big enough? But my fear there was it wouldn't be big enough to cope with the stuff that we do want to keep. I still want to declutter some things, but I want a little bit of space in these boxes. Like I want them to be easy enough to navigate for the kids. Like I don't want them to pull out a cube and it just be absolutely packed so that they can't find what they need. They're tipping boxes out all over the place, or they just get frustrated and don't play with things. I want them to be accessible. I want to have a bit of room to grow as birthdays come along and new toys come in the house. And also, ideally, I wanted to get some of our games and puzzles out of the unit under the television. So as well as weaponry, we have games and puzzles. One is to get them out of there into this toy unit. So we have most of our toys there. And then I could put some of my stuff from my desk into the unit under the television, because originally that unit was never intended to house toys at all. That was intended to be like for the grown-up stuff that we needed downstairs, so that everything like had a place and was all tidied away. And what's happened is, I'm a home worker. I mostly work from home, have a desk in this main living space downstairs, and my desk is just, it's a mess. There's stuff everywhere. There's notepads and paperwork and kit that I need for work, just open and very, very like visually messy. And also, as well as being messy, like visually, just in general is an issue. But being that it is a work mess is like quite hard for me when I am not working, because I can always see my work stuff. It's like a constant reminder of work. I'd really love it if I could pack that away. I can't get my like actual desk packed away. I think maybe we could have built in some storage, but I don't really want to do that. But I would like the stuff on my desk and under my desk away. So those are the aims of this particular project. I'm asking a lot of it, I know that. But I think this project could make such a big difference in all our lives. Like we've made the kids' lives when it comes to playing and finding things that they want easier. I'm hoping it will encourage them to actually play with their toys a bit more, because at the moment they sort of play with a few favourites. But I think like a lot of us mums find that a lot of these toys do get left, unused. And there is a degree of needing to declutter, and they definitely play better with less. But yeah, I think it will be good for the kids. It'll be good for me, get my desk area tidied up, and just like be good for all of us in terms of having a calmer space with less out on show. There is that balance I think needed when it comes to kids. Like some of it you need out to encourage them to play. But then if there's too much out, it's overwhelming. And we have a coffee table which has toys in and like on it. And that's an area which I'm going to use basically as my kind of toy rotation, like my visual toy rotation. So I'm going to be moving things out of the cubes in the Kallax and onto the coffee table, so that they can, like, they have some toys out that they can see and play with. And then each week or 1 to 2 weeks, I will change them around and rotate them. So that's my idea, is that we'll have visual toys out on the coffee table or like within it, that they can be playing with, and then other stuff packed away. So the Kallax unit itself, that we can see us nearing the end of getting that together, as now my husband has finished his dinner and been roped in to help me. That wasn't too hard to put together, really. That was the easiest part of the whole process. I just found that having lifted my 2-year-old a lot lately, like my shoulders are really sore, and I found it quite hard pushing things into place. So I was very grateful to my husband to step in and do some more of like the manual handling part of this process. What I've realised was I'd ordered quite a lot of cubes to go in the Kallax that were a bit nicer than the kind of general fabric ones. We do have some of the general fabric ones, but I also wanted some of the different ones, like the wicker ones, and also I'd ordered 2 drawer units as well to go in there to have some of the smaller toys. So rather than having just one big cube, we have 2 drawers which are split into 2 cubes split into 2 drawers. And then like we have a magic kit, we can put that in one. The boys have their spy kits, that could go in one, and then have some games in the other one. Those took the longest to put together. All the cubes that had to be assembled Oh my goodness, that was so annoying. But it definitely wasn't, in my opinion, the hardest job. Was that I had bought some little like feet to put on the Kallax units. So both of the Kallax units, the new one and the existing one. And these were little oak feet, which you can see me just getting out there. And little did I know at this point when I was starting to like plan it out, just what a pain this particular part of the process would be. And I actually cut my finger. Not too badly, but it's still sore now. I cut my finger trying to get one of these on, and it was one that I happily passed that job over to my husband, who took that one for Team Rob. But oh my gosh, that was not fun. And I think if I'd had to do this, the whole thing, like the whole process myself without any help, I would definitely have been in tears at this point. I'm not joking. It was quite, oh, it's just a pig because I think that the feet that I had bought, I got them from Amazon, and they were clearly intended for somebody who, like, they were not like a kind of just drill it on, just screw it on and put together. They didn't come with any pre-drilled holes, so they just came the feet in the pack with some metal mounts and some screws. But then, you have to actually do the work to like making like some, holes in all the right places to get these mounts on. And oh my gosh. Anyway, my husband did it. I probably owe him a new bottle of whiskey or something for for it. Not that he shouldn't be involved jointly in, getting things sorted out in the house, of course, but just that he had absolutely no say in any of this. I decided on this whole project. I went ahead and bought stuff. I did consult with him before choosing the Kallax unit because I think that was quite important. It's a big piece of furniture that's going to be in the house, very visible, depending on which one we bought, height-wise, more visible. And I'm glad that we went for basically this height variation. So we have a bit of a height variation on our wall. Firstly, we have a sloping ceiling, which we love. So it gives us a lot of height on one end, regular height on the other, and then like is really high at another point. And then we also have shelves to kind of match in with that height variation. We have two shelves at differing height points, and they're on the wall that the Kallax units are going to sit along. So basically we decided we put the slightly taller Kallax unit on the side, which had the higher shelf, and the other one on the other side. And then we have this beach hut, which this wooden beach hut, which we had, it was made by my stepdad basically for our wedding, and it served as a post box for wedding cards at our wedding. And a lot of love and care went into making it. We are very, very fond of it. It reminds us a lot of our wedding. It's very impractical when it comes to toy storage, but that's what we use it for. We use it to store like all the little toys that don't really have an obvious home. They're kind of just, odd bits. So we got, toy binoculars and some kaleidoscopes and toy dinosaurs and things like that sit in that beach hut. But the kids know what toys are in there. And I would say that they probably go into the beach hut more than they do other areas of toy storage in the house. So that's going to stay, and that's going to sit on the shorter Kallax unit. So I actually did cut out a bunch of footage, guys, because this took us so long. So in terms of the first day, it took us 3 hours to get the Kallax units up. I just want to show you what it was looking like at one point, right? This is what the house was looking like, and my husband's face, as he was not too impressed. So by the end of that night, we basically just stuffed the toys and the cubes into the Kallax units and abandoned. By this point, it was midnight. And nearly midnight, and I still hadn't done my declutter for that day. So I've not decluttered anything during this particular day, this first day. All we have done is just put up the new organisers, and I'll show you like what I was talking about with that unit under the television, weaponry there at the bottom, and then games above. And then over on this side, we've got more games and puzzles at the top, and then we have exercise stuff that I use for exercising at home underneath. And a random plastic bag apparently. So, so it's that, the section above my exercise kit. That's what I'd really like to clear out for using for my desk. So we are now on to the next evening. And this is when I'm actually going to sort out, organize the toys and do some decluttering of toys. So finally we get on to actually shifting some things out. Now I thought I will set an alarm. Firstly, I set a timer for half an hour. And my husband said to me, I don't think you'll get the fancy dress stuff done in an hour. That was his thought because there's so much of it. There was an awful lot on that rail. And actually, when I went to pick it up, it was so heavy, I could barely pick it up. But there we go. I set the timer for half an hour, not because I only have half an hour. I actually had about an hour, but I think that mentally, if I tell myself I'm going to have to do something for an hour, that feels like a long time to be doing decluttering and organising of toys. So I could really only cope with the idea of doing it. I thought half an hour to do the fancy dress stuff, and then I'll move on. I'll just move on to something else, whether I've finished or not. And then, like 9 times out of 10, when I tell myself something like that, I will see the particular project through to the end. So I've recently started watching La Palma, the series on Netflix, and it is so good, guys. If you haven't watched it, then I highly recommend. And I put this on the television. My husband and I don't watch that much stuff together. So he was downstairs, he'd been making his dinner or doing something in the kitchen while I started the toy clear out. I put La Palma on. I think I was on the second episode. And my husband got so like into it that he basically sat at the kitchen island watching the TV alongside me for the whole show. So we managed to get through like one whole program while we were doing this, and that was really nice actually. I think sometimes we don't watch a lot of television, but lately I've been putting it on a bit more while I'm doing like decluttering, just kind of keep me use it as an entertainment time as well, and like give me something else to kind of take my mind off what I'm doing. I did debate actually before I put it on. I said to my husband, like, will I just get distracted? Because I think sometimes that happens. I'll put something on and then I'll get drawn into it and find that I'm not working as productively as I should. But I think there's that balance, isn't there, between like having fun and having, actually watching what you're watching and then getting things done around the house. As you can see, I'm wearing my fetching, basically my pajamas plus my massive oversized hoodie, which is, I mean, this is what my husband gets to come home to every day. I don't know what I was checking that these fancy dress glasses still actually go over ears and hadn't been bent to the degree that they couldn't be worn anymore, just in case you're wondering what I was doing there. They were actually Mother Christmas's glasses, but the kids are quite taken with them. So they stay in the fancy dress stuff, even though Mother Christmas's outfit, which is mine, goes up with Christmas stuff each year. We have two Oompa Loompa wigs and only one Oompa Loompa costume. And I don't know why. I think it's just I'm tired. I had to run that past my husband if you see me talking now. Do we need to keep both of these wigs? Of course we don't now. Of course we don't. So check one of those. Here's the king cloak that I talked about earlier. This is a big favourite in my house. And what I managed to pick up at a local charity shop for like, I don't know, £2 was like one of the best purchases. And my eldest in particular adores it. He's a big fan of the royal family. So we have our royal flag in there as well. The stand itself, like having cleared that will be going. Well, there is nowhere else that we can use that in the house. Our kids' bedrooms are quite small, and there is absolutely not space in them for anything else. But it's a really good solid unit. So I haven't listed it to sell it yet, but I'm debating it. Would be interested to know what you think, because I have this constant dilemma around selling ththings. I have a few items in the house I need to get rid of, and actually I listed a couple free on local giving away sites just earlier today, so that I can shift them out of the house. And that's mostly what I do. I mostly take things to charity shops or I list them on local giving away sites, because otherwise I find that I make a decision to get rid of something, but it doesn't actually leave my house. Like it just hangs around for ages. So at the moment I have this dressing up stand out downstairs, kind of sitting on the edge of the living room, waiting for me to make a decision. And the decision being, do I give it away or do I list it? Because if I give it away, I know it will be gone within a week. I can guarantee you somebody will come probably the next day and collect it from my house. And also, somebody will come and collect it from my house. I don't have to take it anywhere, like a charity shop or anything like that. But if I list it, I don't know when or if it will sell. And that has happened to me before, where I think something is so nice or it was very costly perhaps. I mean, I don't think that was particularly costly. I want to say it was under 50 quid purchased from Amazon, but it is solid. It's a really good piece of furniture. Would I buy it again if I wanted a fancy dress rail or a clothing rail for kids? Yes, I would. But it's that, do I get it out of the house? It's not expensive. It was not nothing in terms of money. But yeah, I mean, I'm inclined to sell it because it's good, but I'm maybe 50-50 on whether I sell it or I give it away. So help me out here. What do you think? So excuse the fact that it kind of looks like I'm now in some kind of hazy fog. Basically, I have to add an additional light when I'm filming down here at night because it's so dim in this part of the house. But we quite like that dim lighting because, at nighttime, we just have a couple of side lights on and with the television on or something if somebody's watching something or whatever. But you obviously need a bit more light if you are trying to do something like organize toys. But I had not turned my light back around to face me because, I'm losing track and I'm clearly tired at this point. But I will do in a minute. So bear with me in terms of the haziness and I will chat you through now what I'm doing. So basically, toys is just one of my hardest things I find to declutter. Toys and kids' clothes, like anything to do with the kids, I really struggle with it. I get quite sentimental. I get worried about them being upset if I was to get rid of something that they decide that they want. And I worry when it comes to clothes that they'll grow out of something or something, seasons will change or they'll be doing something else and they'll need something that I got rid of. So I find it really hard to get rid of these items. But one thing I did in a recent toy declutter, so I did a toy declutter as part of my decluttering series in December. And there I did like a first toy declutter and I got rid of a few things, but I felt a little bit disappointed I hadn't been able to part with more. And then I thought, you know what, I'm just going to put things I'm umming and ahhing, and I quite like to declutter, but I'm worried about what the kids will think. I'm going to put them in a big bag. So I had a giant like blue IKEA bag. I filled that up and I put them in the loft as a kind of time will tell, if they don't ask for them in like 3 to 6 months, then I will feel confident in passing those on to a charity shop. So, and I really love that, the idea that I don't have to make the decision right now. The decision that I need to make is, do I think I might want to declutter it? And if I think I might want to declutter it, I can put it in a bag in the loft for 3 to 6 months. So this big yellow tub here of fancy dress stuff is stuff that I've thought I might want to declutter it. And my husband was saying to me, so we have like, firefighter clothing and these hats are on the top. And my husband was like, well, if we go to a fire station open day, which we do, our local fire station has a big open day. They have a few actually throughout the year, but we usually go maybe once a year. And then they let the kids use the hoses, they do activities, they can climb all the vehicles. It's really good fun and it's totally free. So it's really awesome. When they've been to that, they put their fire hats on. It's really cute. But that's only really with the last time they use them. So do they need floor space in the living room for that reason? No. Might we not go to another fire station open day? Maybe we won't. But we'll put that stuff in the loft and it won't take up space down here. And also I can revisit it in 3 to 6 months, as well as the other bag of toys, and make decisions, firm decisions then about things to leave the house. That means that decluttering process does take longer, but it's more likely that I will clear a greater number of toys from the house in like a 6 month period of time than I would do if I was saying to myself, you have to make a definite decision right now. So I am good with that. And if that helps you, then like go ahead and do it. If you are able to be ruthless when it comes to kids' toys, then hats off to you. I'm definitely not. I'm really struggling with it. And I think also having kids of different ages, like 6, 4, and 2, like I often think, what will my 2-year-old be into in 2 years' time? I don't know. Like, I just know what she's into right now. I don't know what she's going to want to play with in a couple of years. And I have found there's been a few things that I've nearly got rid of and then she's got really into, and I've been glad that I kept. Another area of toys that I'm really struggling with is our ride-on toys. You might have seen those at the beginning when I showed you like the before, and you'll see them when I show you the after shortly. We have 3 ride-on toys downstairs in our house. We have this like 3-wheeled trike, which does get used a lot, like 100% would keep that. Then we have a ride-on bus. I would say that gets used minimally. And then we have a ride-on aeroplane. Again, it gets used minimally. And I think one of those, the bus or you see them here, the bus, the trike, and then we've got the plane underneath that buggy. So this is a reminder of the before, okay? And that is what it was looking like before I did anything, before I did any of the book storage clear out or anything like that. So help me out here. Do I get rid of one of these ride-ons? For now, they're there. And this is the after. So this is the new Galaxy unit on the right here, and the old one on the left-hand side. We still got our like Pickler climbing kit on that side. But yeah, everything on the surface, bar the beach hut, which we intended to stay, everything on the surface is tidied away in a cube. And then for the unit under the television, over on this left-hand side, rejigged a little bit. We've got our weaponry. We've got a few more helmets there. And then at the top, we've got games. And I kept games that have small bits to them that I wouldn't want my 2-year-old getting out. Or card games I don't want them just opening loads of packets of. I've cleared some space here, maybe not quite as much space as I'd like. So I think I will come back, maybe do another run through the toys. But there is some space for me to put some desk stuff there. And this is stuff that's going. So one way or another, the hanging rail is going, loads of hangers, and then we've got a bit of fancy dress stuff and a couple of broken toys. So that might not be that impressive on its own, but I have this other group of toys which I've sorted out to go into our loft. And I'm confident that one way or another, the bulk of that is going to be gone within the next 3 to 6 months. I just know that when I do that, I will be able to have the confidence to know that the kids aren't going to ask for it again. And I had some time left over, guys. It didn't take me a full hour. So I'm really pleased with that. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much. Bye.